You're watching Life Report, pro-life talk, real-world answers. Life Report trains people to more effectively defend their pro-life beliefs while honestly examining the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. We're the show other pro-lifers may have warned you about. This is Life Report.
Yes. Welcome to Life Report. The
He
video
just said
version.
Hosted
That's
by
true.
Josh the Robot.
The voiceover guy
The
did
voice
just say that.
just said that, and you repeat it.
My bad.
My bad.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. It's our third video. We're really
Yay!
excited about the new studio. If you're not checking out, we're on youtube.com/Life Report if you actually want to see what this thing looks like instead of just listen. But
And it looks
today,
cool. Gotta watch.
It does look extremely cool. Today we are doing listener mail.
Yay!
Got mail.
What's this?
Yes, you do.
A letter for me.
Any mail for me while I was gone?
What's this? A letter for me?
Message for you, son. Hey, you know what? This is all your mail.
Monty Python.
Mail is evil. Pass it on.
Pass it on.
So we have a lot of listener piled up. I was just going through
A lot of
all of
listener?
A lot of listeners.
listener mail. I said listener mail, right?
you didn't. You
okay.
totally-
We have
Dropped the mail.
okay.
Totally left out the word.
For those of you that are new to the show, you can email us questions at
Liz@prolifepodcast.net.
or Josh at prolifepodcast.net or Kyle if you really want to send one to Kyle. Don't send one to Kyle. So
Oh!
you can
Wow. Wow.
Here's the thing. You guys fight about who gets more listener mail. It all goes to the same place. Me, my email inbox, and I collect it and I compile it and I put it in order. I don't really see why we're still arguing about who gets more listener mail.
I
but
still enjoy getting them in my little... I have a special email folder for my podcast emails. They pop up and it says podcast.
All right. So anyone that sends us listener mail, CC Liz on it just to make her feel special about herself. Anyway, people can send us emails. We respond to emails. We also respond to voicemails. You can call our voicemail line and leave us a voicemail to be played in the show at 559-851-LIFE. And we have a lot of listener mail to get to because we've gone for a while and it's
Right.
just kind of piled up. We've got like 20 or 30 pieces. So we're going to be going through a few of them today.
Here we go.
The funny thing about this is
Now
it's
they know
actually-
what we do.
Wait, that's what we do. It's actually a voicemail. So someone left us a voicemail. This is Michael, and here's his voicemail.
Hey, this is Mike. So I'm working on my LLM through the University of London, and I did one on medical ethics, and I thought this was kind of telling how they did this. So when they were talking about abortions in the United Kingdom, they said that the abortions from 20 weeks on, those are referred to as a tiny minority, okay? And it's later explained that that number is somewhere around 1%, okay? So 1% is a tiny minority, all right? But then, when it talks about the American abortion situation, it refers to the, quote, anti-abortion campaigners that have murdered doctors and set fire to clinics as just a minority. Not a tiny minority, but just a minority. So, to recap, a tiny minority is around 1%, and the amount of anti-abortion campaigners who have murdered doctors and set fire to clinics, that's not a tiny minority, that's just a minority. So it's more than 1%, maybe like, 3, 4, maybe 5%. So I just thought I'd let you know that you could be safe, because if you're in a group of 20 pro-lifers, odds are one of those 20 has murdered a doctor.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
I love
That
Michael
is
Conklin.
really hilarious.
So-
There's been what? How many actual acts of violence?
I'm glad you asked because Michael actually he sent in an email after that because he didn't have time to finish it in the voicemail.
Right.
I only really give people 60 seconds in the voicemail, but he just asked out of curiosity how many abortion doctors have been murdered in the U.S. since Roe versus Wade. The answer to that is in the U.S. violence directed toward abortion providers has killed at least 8 people.
Okay.
To date. That includes 4 doctors, 2 clinic employees, a security guard, and a clinic escort. So 8 murders,
So 8
have
murders.
taken place. And then Michael's email went on. He also asked us a second question. Also, Josh, it talks about the reason for the Abortion Act of 1967 in the UK as being the high mortality rates caused by illegal abortions. And there were, quote-unquote, large numbers of illegal abortions being performed using dangerous techniques. What's that famous statistic in America that someone made up before Roe? Something like every minute a woman dies from an illegal abortion, then later someone called him out on it and doing the math, and the guy just admitted, yeah, I made it up, but it was for a good cause. We have
Right.
that. He's actually combining a couple of different quotes. So the statistics on this are, this is the one that gets quoted often, is Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who is the co-founder of NARAL, which is the National Abortion Rights Action League. He was one of the chief pro-abortion lobbyists before Roe,
Right.
and then later on became pro-life and wrote a book called Aborting America. And I've got a quote from the book. He says, "I confess that I knew the figures were totally false, and I suppose the others did too if they stopped to think of it." So the figures he's talking about are, they would say 5 to 10,000 women dying every year.
From illegal abortions.
From illegal abortions.
Okay. So we're
it's like-
talking
Wow.
back alley, right?
Yeah, exactly. "I confess that I knew the figures were totally false, and I suppose the others did too if they stopped to think of it. But in the morality of our revolution, it was a useful figure, widely accepted, so why go out of our way to correct it with honest statistics? The overriding concern was to get the laws eliminated, and anything within reason that had to be done was permissible. Statistics on abortion deaths were fairly reliable since bodies are difficult to hide." So that was Dr. Bernard Nathanson talking about that. But then the other thing that Michael's referring to was Dr. Christopher Tietze, who's the chief statistician for, among others, Planned Parenthood and the CDC. And he had said, he wrote this in Scientific America, he said, look, there's 45,000 women dying every year from all causes. 45,000 women. Says there's no way statistically that 5 to 10,000 women are dying from the same thing. That's just, it's just, you said
Right.
it's unmitigated nonsense. So it's kind of combining those two things. So what I would say, and we talked about this a little bit last time, but I want to, let's spend a little time on it talking about it. Pro-lifers should never make the claim that there are never going to be any illegal abortions done in back alleys
Absolutely
if
true. Right.
abortion
Right.
becomes illegal. I don't know if any of you saw this story. There is a horrific story, but this just happened recently, and this I think proves what we've been saying on this show for years. There is a 13-year-old girl who had been being consistently raped.
I did hear
Did
about
you see that?
Mm-hmm.
By
Back
this-
east, right?
Yeah, by this 30-year-old guy. And she eventually becomes, they've been having sex for at least a year. She became pregnant. She gave herself an abortion with a lead pencil.
With a pencil.
And
Oh,
then
yeah, I heard
he came and he buried the child in the backyard.
Yes, I heard about that.
And so there's people are talking about just how horrific the story is and how we need to be locking these guys up. But I just think that I mean abortion's legal. She could have gone to Planned Parenthood and
Right.
most likely they would have hidden the statutory rape. And
Well,
so
right. No one probably would have found out that she was being abused, but now there's a case.
right. And
Yeah.
so I just think this shows that, I think every once in a while this kind of thing will happen. So our response shouldn't be, no, it'll never happen. It will always.
Right.
No, our response should be, once again, that question. Why should the law be faulted for making it more dangerous to kill a human being? Because if in the end it's killing a human being, then that's the real issue.
Exactly.
Exactly. And yeah, we can agree with that.
Yeah. So so that would be I guess all really that I have to say about that. So
That was a cool statistic,
was-
though, that
yeah.
he looked at.
Yeah,
That-
exactly. Yeah, there's the whole. I think one of the points that Michael's making is the absurdity of the language, the political language. Well, this is a minority, a tiny minority, this, that, or the other thing. And
It'd
it's
be
sort
more
of-
like a microscopic minority
Yeah,
of
it's
pro-lifers, or less if there
yes,
is.
a statistically insignificant amount. I mean, it's just if you put a little bit of a political spin on it, use some vague terms, then it sounds worse or more significant.
Yeah,
than it
but I
really
mean,
is.
I mean, I was in Trinidad last year. I mean, there are illegal abortions going on there. In Trinidad, abortion's illegal. Now, most of the doctors aren't like enforcing that law, but yeah, women are having abortions there, and it's just one of those things where it doesn't happen that often, but it happens. And so I just think it's dangerous and kind of stupid to try to go and, instead of framing the issue around, once again, what is the unborn? Remember, if it's not a human being, then there's no problem with abortion. It becomes like having a mole removed. But if it is a human being, then that's really the real issue. Just like we wouldn't make it illegal to kill toddlers just because it might be dangerous for them. No, but it's wrong to kill toddlers. And so in the end.
Yeah, exactly.